We're recording.
Hey, Sinners, I'm Shannon.
And I'm Sean.
And this is Sinful Cuts. How are you doing this week, Sean?
I'm doing good.
Yay.
I'm doing good.
Fall is around the corner.
Yeah, so Sinners, we're based on Long Island in New York. And even though it's the beginning of September, it still feels like the 8th or 9th circle of hell.
Yeah.
9th.
Well, yeah, maybe 9th.
Yeah.
And it teeters back and forth because last night I was freezing wearing a coat. So.
Mornings and evenings, you get that delicious crispness that I know is coming, but the days are still super hot. Super hot. So Shannon and I are counting down to when we can wear our horror hoodies and our Freddy sweaters, and I honestly can't wait. I just can't wait.
I know. I'm ready.
So excited for
pumpkins,
Halloween.
Apples, full colors. I'm ready for it.
This Halloween's going to be something special, and even though this is going to sound so damn corny, it's because of this podcast. Because we're doing this podcast now, this will be our first Halloween while podcasting, and I don't know what that means. It's got me so excited.
I think it's gonna take. It's gonna make looking at second glance at these movies maybe even that much more special, I guess, especially when we're in the season.
We're gonna have to figure out as we get closer to Halloween. We're gonna have to figure out like our special Halloween episode, and I have no idea. We'll figure it. Oh,
yeah.
Do you want to? Oh, Sinners. I'm like in this with you. I have no idea what it is. Oh, that's very exciting. That's very exciting.
We'll get there.
Okay, so we've got a couple of weeks to go, but as always, we just want to thank you for listening. We're having a blast with this. We hope
really
you are too.
Thank you.
As always, please listen, rate and review. Even if it's not a great review, we'd still love to hear it because
we need to learn.
Only help to make us better, unless it's something like about my height, because I can't do shit about that. All right. So as far as what we're currently watching and reading and into this week, I only watched I watched Scarecrows from 1988. Okay. Just because I want to give proper credit. I'm fairly certain it was Fangoria, Bloody Disgusting. They had mentioned, they do like a. What to watch this week, or if you're into this, take a look at this. It was fun. It was a fun little movie from 1988. At that time, if I had seen it on cable or on VHS at the time, I would have gotten a real big kick out of it at that age. So it was a little nostalgic. The practical work was great. The scarecrows look scary as hell, and it was just a fun, quick watch.
So it still holds up.
It does.
I love when movies still hold up. It's great.
There's that special place in my mind and in my heart of hitting Blockbuster Video, and I definitely remember picking up the box to Scarecrow because they had the Scarecrow on it, the practical, like that good special effects makeup, and I never pulled the trigger and rented it, but I absolutely love movies like that where you picture yourself holding the box and it just brings back those memories. I had that this week with The Blob, the Kevin Dillon version.
So, oh my god, I can't believe you brought up The Blob.
I didn't watch it yet.
Oh, okay, me neither.
I didn't watch it yet.
Me neither.
We're definitely doing an episode on that.
We have to.
You know what? Because I was selfish and I wrapped my dirty little paws around Halloween 3, so you can have The Blob.
Okay.
Fair?
Okay.
All right, fair.
I'm actually researching that right now for my own Instagram account because it's so they came out in 1958 and 1988, so they are literally 30 years apart. So now they have their anniversaries this year. Can't do math right now, so.
I will. I'll leave a little spoiler for our sinners. I brought Date to The Blob, and that was the second date, and there was not a third date after that, which just showed me that she was not the girl for me.
She was not the one.
All right,
it worked out in the end.
Yeah. I sadly have a lot of those stories. Turns out that young women didn't want to go to horror movies in the late 80s, early 90s. All right.
That's all right. They're lost.
I learned my lesson the hard way, like most things. So that's, as far as movies go, I did not really have a lot of time to get into it. There's some good stuff, though, on streaming. I just wanted to give a little shout out to Screambox right now. Oh, I did watch RoboDoc, the
cool.
RoboCop documentary.
Okay, cool.
They're doing episodes right now. I watched the first one, and it's so good. Absolutely check it out.
Ooh, okay.
The second one, I think that hopefully they have coming out this week, and that's going to be centered around like the villains, like Ray Wise and Kurtwood Smith and that gang from the movie. So I really can't wait for that. So RoboDoc on Screambox, definitely worth your time. They just dropped Starry Eyes, which was directed by Kevin Kolch and Dennis Widmeyer, and they had, off of Starry Eyes, they had actually garnered enough like heat, and they got the Pet Sematary remake based off of that.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I still have not seen that. I'll give it a go when the time is right.
Yeah, I saw it in the theater.
Okay.
And you know what? Maybe we'll eventually get around to a Pet Sematary episode.
I think we most certainly will.
Yeah, so we'll save it for that.
Okay.
But
okay.
Starry Eyes is a really, really good, tight, independent, just very well done movie. Alex Esso is the lead in that. She's a great actor. She's part of Mike Flanagan's crew.
Okay.
So she pops up in a lot of his stuff, but she really carries the movie. It's phenomenal. Then you got Ty West's The Innkeepers is on Screambox. And then the Hatchet series, which I get a kick out of, Adam Green's
they're fun.
Hatchet movies. They are. It's just like, how insane can this kill get?
And they go for it.
Once I feel like we've reached the apex.
And how do I top the last? Yeah, there.
Adam Green is constantly going, hold my beer.
Yeah.
And then one that I have a little a special place for is this movie called Dead Girl, which is I don't really want to get into the movie. The less said about it, the better. It will capture your attention. But my special place for this movie is it's co-directed by a guy that I went to NYU with.
That's exciting.
Gotti Harrell. Oh, Gotti, I hope I'm getting your last name right. He was in the dorm next to me at Weinstein Hall at NYU back in the day. And back then, he was an absolute sweetheart and had such great sense of humor. He used to wear this t-shirt that said Body by Gotti, and I just got the biggest kick out of that because Gotti weighed about 98 pounds.
That is a conversation starter.
Yeah.
That's a conversation starter and a half if I ever heard one.
So, and what breaks my heart, though, is that here you had two knuckleheads that were literally living next to each other, and we never once talked horror movies. It just never happened. But anyway, Dead Girl is on Screambox, and Gotti, I hope you're out there doing great things. That's it. As far as books that I am reading, this is going to be like a test to see if my wife actually listens to the podcast, because I went on a little bit of a tear, and Jen is always like, can you not just go to the library and get a book out? And I'm like, no, I must own it. I must feel it, and it must be mine. It's a problem, but it's a problem that I fully endorse. So I bought Ellen Datlow's Screams from the Dark anthology of monster horror.
Oh, okay. I never heard of that.
Really good authors. You've got Joe Lansdale in there. You've got Nathan Ballingrud, just like really, really good, tight, creature-centric, monster-centric short stories. So quick reads. I like to bang one out before going to sleep, so I get good, fresh nightmares. When your husband isn't giving me nightmares. Yeah, Maddie. Yeah, dude.
Talking to you.
Yeah, we're gonna talk later, pal. Scaring the living shit out of me with his Instagram posts. Well done, though. They're great. And then I bought Philip Fracassi's Gothic, and I'm just about to also buy his Boys in the Valley, which just came out, and Erica T. Worth. I listened to Fearmongers, which is Clay McLeod Chapman's podcast, and Erica T. Worth read a snippet from the novel, and it was so friggin' good that I went out and I bought the book.
Nice.
So can't wait to read White Horse, which is gathering a lot of buzz right now. So by all means, please go out and buy it. Look, I got no beef against Amazon and Barnes and Noble. A lot of my things I'm looking at right now in my basement were from there. But if you can, go out and support local booksellers, local bookstores. They'll love you for it. So that's my little soapbox moment. And I'll shut my yap.
That's okay.
So that's all I got for my current stuff.
Yeah, I didn't really watch too much stuff. I went through... the only thing I actually watched recently, and again for research purposes, anniversary-wise, was Jeepers Creepers 2. And
I see that.
I went back to watch that. I get... Because a lot of people have an issue with that movie. I get those issues.
Well, because the director, right?
Well, that's one thing, is the director. When you listen to, like, break it down and you listen to the dialogue...
I did see it.
It's like...
It's the football team.
Yeah.
On the bus.
Yes.
I saw that in the movie
But
theater.
the creature is...
Yeah, those practical effects are insane.
He was freaking scary. So, to me, that part of it still holds up. It was still a fun movie, even to rewatch. Like, I just literally just watched it, like, just this past week. And I'm like, I still enjoyed it.
No, you know what? I'm gonna back you up on this. Enjoyed that movie when I saw it in the theater. It's also a great Ray Wise performance.
Yeah.
He plays the dad. No, damn it, I did like that movie.
Yeah, I get the whatever. I get that.
Yeah, the ick factor of the director and all that.
Yeah, and that's a serious thing. I totally get it, but
Shannon, we talk about this damn near every episode, that we come against the wall of, holy cow, now I have to separate the art from the artist.
Yeah.
It's just kind of weird that we're on our 6th episode, and I think we've mentioned it 3 times, but it's just, look, it's challenging, and, look, I'm not going to tell you how to feel, but you have to,
you get to the point where you support the art, you don't support the artist.
Look, Rosemary's Baby is one of my favorite horror films of all time.
Yeah.
But I have to separate the art from the artist, because if I don't, I can't touch that.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily know that I'm racing out to go see a Mel Gibson movie right now. I still am working my way through the art and the artist with that. But I love Apocalypto.
I was going to say, you can't deny certain works from the past.
So anyway, we're constantly challenged with this, as are you, as a viewer. But we get it. Look, we're all on the same page here.
Yeah,
we take it
it.
case by case.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not blind to it. But...
Not blind to it. Good. Well said.
Yeah. So what are we talking about today?
Halloween H2O.
It's 1998 in a remote California town at a secluded private school.
We could have a Halloween party, just the 4 of us. We could have a roaming orgy.
I love the way this man thinks. No booze, no drugs, no kidding.
One teacher is living in fear.
I'm not who you think I am. I changed my name when I went into hiding.
Terrible. Pick up your clothes.
My brother killed my sister.
How'd he do that?
With a really big kitchen knife.
That's enough. I can't take it, Mom. He's dead. It's been 20 years. What's he waiting for, huh? Don't you think he would have shown up by now? I don't know. This is a sick joke.
Now,
Come on!
the face of good and the face of evil will meet one last time. But this time, it's going to be a fight to the finish. This summer, terror won't be taking a vacation. Halloween H2O.
It's Halloween. I guess everyone is entitled to one good scare. I've had my share.
You could tell from the tone of my voice.
So if that was reversed, it would have sounded like Halloween H2O. So we already had this discussion when we knew we were going to do this episode. So I'm a huge fan, and I'll get into all the nitty gritty, and obviously
I don't begrudge you that.
No,
I don't begrudge you that. I just you know what? We'll get into it.
We're gonna start. You'll get it. I don't know. Either you're with me or you're with Sean. We'll find out. But this is gonna be an interesting one. All right. So Halloween H2O. Okay, so here is the... Should I start with the description? You know what? How about I go into... let me go into my perspective on it. So let me start there. Cool. Okay. So, obviously was one of many fans that grew up with Halloween and Michael Myers. And some people will go far back and say he was the original slasher. You know, he Friday the 13th was created because of the original Halloween, and I feel like everything else kind of ensued. I always felt he was just an interesting person, especially when you go back to the original, and just how simple that movie was and effective, and the fact that just a shadow from across the street was utterly terrifying to me, like utterly terrifying, and just him walking across the street with Laurie not getting, so just scenes like that, it's still... You watch it, I still get the chills.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but okay, Freddy, Jason, Michael. Mm-hmm. Give me your order.
Of how I saw them?
No, you're F, marry, kill. No, you're
because I'm like, I don't remember.
you're who's the top? Give me the breakdown.
I always saw. I always went back to Michael Myers. Always.
Same.
Always, because what was different about him, and these are the earlier movies, granted as it went on, it got very interesting, but the newer ones, very different opinion, but we might have to save those.
If we do get into that,
we may
in
have
this episode, we're gonna part 2 it.
Yeah, we're gonna have to. I'll definitely go on forever about that, but... history aside, I'll try to stick with just the film, but to answer your question, one thing I always liked about Michael that always made him stand out is, again, the fact that he was like a glimmer and he was a shape. And there's many scenes, especially I believe it was the 4th movie, where they're like stuck in the house after all the kids disappear from trick-or-treating. So there's a glimmer where, I think it's the sheriff that's there, like waiting for, whatever to happen, and he's in the rocking chair, and there is a door in the background. You assume it's a closet, slightly ajar. I'm telling you, you see a glimmer of his face, and then 3 seconds later, it's gone. So he had that kind of factor where he was very sneaky. He was very just, I don't know. There was something like just more creepy about him. And then again, they tried explaining that, and it definitely got ridiculous. Again, I'm not going to go too deep into that. Actually, the only thing I'll mention with that is, going back into the topic at hand, which is H2O, they actually decided to, they did consider this at the time a fresh start, which has happened a lot of times throughout. So it has a very confusing history, but they literally took this as a sequel from part 2.
Yes. Yeah.
Right, they just decided to skip all that in between. I think they were going to try to mention Danielle Harris's character
Kevin Williamson,
and throw it in there a little bit. And
fame. He wrote a treatment for it, which is online. You can check out the treatment.
Yeah.
It's like 7-8 pages. He did incorporate a part where student gets up and talks about the Halloween murders, so it encapsulates 4, 5, and 6.
Okay.
And then it's a very quick scene, and they acknowledge it. Danielle Harris has been murdered through that presentation that she gives, and then that's it. So they did wrap it up, but they didn't put it in H2O because they felt like it was just, and it is so damn confusing.
And it might not have worked, because I think they were going to try to throw it in a dialogue somewhere, and it's possible that it just didn't work. Which is, and if it's, and you know what, if that's what you felt, I thought it was fine the way the movie was shot from. The final layout of it. Again, are there issues? Sure, I'll get into that.
I support you and your Michael in the taking the gold.
Yes.
I feel like Carpenter and Deborah Hill, they created like this vessel where you could put all of your fears into.
Yeah.
and it worked beautifully.
It really did.
You know?
And it's still effective.
Yeah.
You go back and watch the original, it's still effective. And it was one of the main reasons why I appreciated this movie. Because like I said, at the time, when it was coming out, I was so freaking excited. And
Sure.
I ended up seeing it in the theaters with a friend of mine who wasn't really into like the horror thing, but she was like, "Yeah, let's a night out, let's scowls, like go to the movies or whatever." So I'm just drowning in the nostalgia that I was, before my face. And she's just like, "Oh, this is cool," but I knew she didn't appreciate it. But I just remember like explaining, like, "No, you don't understand, like this, like oh, this, but this is from that, and that's from this, and this is from this, and this is that scene, and this is like a cut from that scene, and like I was definitely like something was in my popcorn that day." So that was my experience.
Okay.
And so I've always held on to that love. And also keep in mind, at the time, we did not know of, nobody knew, and nobody was supposed to know, but we did not know about Resurrection contracted in. Nobody knew that.
Sneaky.
It was.
Sneaky.
I almost called her Laurie Strode. Jamie Lee Curtis obviously knew that. I think Mustafa Akkad knew that, and that resulted in that they read the ending in the script to keep it the way it was, because Mustafa Akkad basically said, like, no, he can never die.
Well, I feel like that's why they didn't go with Kevin Williamson's treatment, because at the end of the treatment, Michael gets bisected by a helicopter blade.
Yeah.
He also had 2 helicopter scenes in his treatment, as well as a bus chase, and Mustafa Akkad was probably like, "This is going to be so much money, are you insane?"
Yeah.
They kept the format of Williamson's treatment. It's almost identical.
Right.
But they took a lot of those set pieces out. They kept the smaller ones, the guardhouse sequences with LL Cool J. They kept a lot of the cat and mouse aspect of it, which I think works. And they took those huge set pieces out, which would have been so expensive for a Halloween movie.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah.
By all means, please continue.
So before I get further into it, so let me go into the summary. So,
Cool.
All right. So Laurie Strode, now the dean of a Northern California private school with an assumed name, must battle the shape one last time as the life of her own son hangs in the balance. So that's pretty much the gist. So she's probably went into the witness protection program because she's been attacked twice.
Yeah.
At this time, she still very much had what do you call it?
PTSD.
Thank you. I think I was trying to say it like the whole thing. I'm like, no, too many words. Too many words for me. But yeah, but she definitely still held on to the trauma, which was still very relevant. She was technically seeing him in certain spots, and you could tell she did her own working probably through therapy that you would assume that she went through. Like she would close her eyes and breathe for a second, which I loved, because when he is actually there and it doesn't work, that he doesn't go away right away.
That's a great scene.
She tries again. It's like, wait a second, why is he still there? And
that is absolutely a great scene.
I loved that scene so much. So, and I honestly, I liked I liked where it was. I know, at least maybe in today's world, some people had voiced their upset over the fact that it was like in Northern California as opposed to suburban Illinois.
But
Illinois?
that's just like, I don't get those beefs.
But that doesn't make any sense. If she is on the run from her brother, or just why would she stay in the same environment? Like, it's especially in that neighborhood that haunted her. I would literally look at the house and pass by the house every single day and go into a full-blown panic attack every day. She needed to remove herself
from the environment.
She needed to remove that, but it still made it very interesting, because once a place is abandoned, I loved how they wrote in that there was a school trip.
Yes.
And so once everybody is gone,
it becomes a haunted house again.
Oh my! And then it's dark, and now it's a whole nother playground at this point. And
it's the Nostromo. I mean, it is just empty corridors, echoing hallways. I love the setting of this movie, because nothing is scarier than an abandoned building.
Yeah.
You know, an abandoned house is scary enough, but then when you have you take those scares and they're exponentially larger now because it's just those darkened hallways. I think it worked very effectively.
So I loved the setting. So again, that's just another plus for me that I absolutely loved about this movie. And I actually wrote this in my notes.
What do you got?
Cold open! Exclamation points, because we all know Sean loves
Sean
funny, loves a cold
because
open.
I have it written in my notes.
I see your notes and I raised you.
Damn you!
So I guess
Damn you, Bushman!
So you wanted to talk about Nancy Stevens returning as the nurse Marion.
It's my favorite part of the movie.
Which does make sense
part of the
too.
movie.
That she would be the one to be one of the very few people that knew where Laurie Strode went.
This was
and had files, and he would know. So it does make sense in case, because I feel like I've heard that too sometimes.
You got
like,
me.
How the hell did he know to go there? And it's like, well, did you see the beginning? Scene?
If we start getting into the weeds with how does Michael know how to drive a car and you know, just all the stuff that people like to nitpick about, you gotta let it go.
Yeah, you do have to let it go.
Sinners.
Sorry.
We hear you, but you gotta let it go. Mm-hmm. You know, or else we don't have a movie.
This made more sense than him knowing how to drive a car. Yeah. I don't know, whatever.
This cold open, it almost tips me over the barrel into a like for H2O, and I may get there.
Okay, I'll take it almost.
I may get there someday. There are a lot of things that I do that I love about this movie. I think what holds me back is, and I'm going to be one of those nitpicking asses that I just talked about.
I'll get into the negatives for sure, like, because again, I'm not blind to those.
So wait, let's talk about the cold open though, because
but I do love the cold open. It to me, it was set up perfectly, where, you know, like, she clearly, you know, Nancy Stevens' character Marion, you know, realizes that somebody broke into her house. She runs to the neighbor's house to help out. You know, they steal some beers, whatever.
But she does all the smart things.
She does.
She doesn't look through the house herself. She goes to the neighbors and she's like, fuck this. And not only did it make sense as a viewer, but then, because you're like, that's what I would do, but it made sense for the character too, because I always liked her character, you know?
Yeah, I always liked the character too. She was the one that, because it wasn't very prominent as far as family-wise goes in the first one. It was the second one, and she was the one that revealed, oh my god, Laurie Strode is Michael Myers' sister. She was adopted. So that reveal became in the second one. So she was the one that dropped that knowledge. So it just, I don't know, I found it more fitting that she technically was not really the cause of him finding her again, but if she had those files, I probably would have burned those.
Yeah.
You know, but but again, like you said, like, we wouldn't have a movie. So here we have Steve Miner, the director, who's definitely taking a page from Kevin Williamson, and rightfully so, because Sinners, remember I said that, you know, Kevin Williamson got paid for a treatment. He didn't write the screenplay, but they followed his format, and his format was this cold open where you had a Scream-esque cold open of a celebrity getting killed, because he had Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who was on Third Rock from the Sun at the time. Yeah.
So that was, look, 10
Things I Hate About You.
Yes.
I think he already came out by then.
So Joseph Gordon-Levitt, heartthrob then, heartthrob now. Guess who's getting a little face kiss?
Ooh.
Hi, Gordy. I see you. So we've got his good celebrity cameo death. A hockey skate to the face.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'll take that all day long. I love the interplay. It was very Scream-esque with the jumping from house to house, running from house to house, and the almost getting away, but then getting killed at the last moment as the cops are outside and the cops don't hear. All of that stuff
and
was
honestly,
so Williams-esque.
And honestly, that should be the suburban fix.
It's great.
That's where it started, and now we're moving on to next set.
All right, can I tell you here's my one nitpick, though.
With that scene?
With the cold open.
Okay.
And this is a nitpick to all movies who do this, not just H2O.
Oh, okay.
For fuck's sake. if you're going to have a portrait or a picture of someone you love, don't use a fucking movie still from the movie Halloween. Don't use a publicity shot or a headshot of the actor either. It makes me crazy. It makes me so crazy. And I'll give a shout out to Matt Gorley. If you're not listening to the podcast, the Gorley and Russ podcast, where they pick apart horror movies as well.
Okay.
You really have to. Matt Gorley's got a couple of podcasts. One of them is I Was There Too, and he happened to say that he had 3 nitpicks, one of them being when movies use headshots of actors for their real-life pictures that they're supposed to have in their homes.
Okay.
It takes you out of the movie, and it's also so stupid and asinine. And I agree with Matt Gorley 100%. They literally use a still from the movie Halloween that she has of Dr. Loomis. And I'm like, this is so insane that someone actually had to put this movie still in a frame and put it next to the files. And I'm sure that they laughed about this the entire day. And Steve Miner, you directed Lake Placid, and I love that movie, and you directed my 2 favorite Friday the 13th, 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. Sorry, 2 and 3.
Yeah, I was going to say, 2 and 3, yes.
And I love you for that. And you also directed House and Warlock. Mm-hmm. So kisses on your face.
I forgot to mention that in the beginning. I apologize.
But no, you know what?
We're doing it now.
No, Steve deserves your scorn for not being mentioned in the beginning, because it was your choice to use a production still for Dr. Loomis's picture. It's a minor beef. I know I'm silly talking about it, but you're making me insane. And please,
fix it.
Future filmmakers listening to this podcast, please don't do that. It would take 2 seconds to go take a picture outside the craft wagon. Just use that. Anyway, all right. Geez, I thought I was off my soapbox, but I got right back on super quick. So, Cold Open, adore it. That's my one beef. And then, is that the heat I feel? Because it seems like we're in sunny California.
Yes. So I again, fast forward to, because keep in mind too, this movie I think is the shortest out of the whole franchise. At only
is it
86 minutes.
Oh boy, is it!
So it introduces what it needs to introduce. But the pace to me was perfectly fine. Like you got the gist. She's obviously moved on under through the witness protection program,
through the Stabby Protection Society.
She's a dean in a school now. She has a son who is Josh Hartnett. This is his first movie, by the way. And he you could tell the frustrations that they have. They do mention the father once that he was he's a drunk and blah blah blah. But he's his teenage angst is wanting to repress and just I want to live, I want to be a kid, and I feel that it's a typical 17-year-old. I shouldn't say typical. I shouldn't say that, but a typical teenage angst to I want to be my own person. I want to be So when you have a single parent who dealt with a very traumatic event when she was his age, that's got to make it very hard in the household. It's you can tell the frustration, and that's what I really liked about their chemistry. And for his first movie, I thought they pulled it off really, really well. All of the actors, it made sense, and
teen actors, everything rang true.
Yeah, so it made sense that he, despite not being able to go on that school trip, that he would just okay, fine, I'm just going to figure it out. I'm going to stay here, and even
he's very good.
Yeah,
I have tremendous issues with his haircut.
So I'm going to get into
and I have tremendous issues with Michelle Williams' eyebrows.
So you know what? I'm going to get into that now.
Okay.
Because screw it, why not?
Okay.
So I was about to say, when you ask Josh Hartnett about it, because I know him. No, I don't. So if you go back and watch interviews, because Josh Hartnett went on to have a very successful career.
Still acting today, sure.
Yeah, and he's done a lot of roles that I really enjoyed. So again, this was his first movie he got picked up on. He did happen to soon after get picked up as well and did The Faculty. He's filmed them simultaneously. Oh. So imagine your first time actor, almost you got picked up by 2 movies, and they both do well.
Yeah.
That is a great hurdle right then and there. But so if you remember both of these movies, he has the same exact haircut. He does. So now he was going on the trope of when he was told, what his role is, at least particularly for this film anyway. I'm sure we'll get into The Faculty, and it's probably going to be the same exact thing. But he was told, despite the fact that he lived in Northern California, he didn't accept the fact that a teen of his age, especially one who was feeling as angsty as his character was supposed to feel, okay, that he shouldn't have looked very cookie cutter, because he was absolutely told that, a certain look and a way that they tried styling his hair, maybe not exactly the same, but they were going off the trope of like Beverly Hills 90210 and how they all looked coiffed and put together, and granted they were like 25 years old playing 16, 17-year-olds, and he just at the time, he just said, he's like, I just didn't buy it. Like, he's like, he was coming right, he was 19 years old. He's like, I just came out of school. Nobody I know, whether they're California or the East Coast, it doesn't matter what coast, nobody looked like that. Everybody had their own way of, and maybe you didn't agree with it at the time, but as, again, an angsty teen, you didn't care. This is me, and you're going to accept me for who I am, because whatever, fuck conformity, I don't know, whatever. So, he did cut his hair himself. So that's where that came into play. He cut, so in case you were wondering, did he cut that shit himself? Yes, he did. Actually, he confirms that in an interview. He cut it himself. It was apparently a fight.
I guarantee it was a fight with the producers.
The producers with the, like they kept trying to like style his hair, and he said right before they would hit, they would start filming, he would just immediately
muss it up,
fuck up his hair, and they were like, we could be here. He's like, I'm not doing it, and he's like, okay, either we could be here all day, or but I feel like it worked for the character that he was playing, and the 90s at the time. Yeah, everyone had like an interesting look.
That's where Michelle Williams gets a pass all day long, because no one had eyebrows in the 90s.
So those types of eyebrows, honestly, you make fun of them all you want. Go back into the 20s and 30s.
Okay.
Look at those eyebrows.
All right.
Look at Elsa Lancaster's eyebrows in Bride of Frankenstein.
You got me.
They were a trend at some point or another. Not Elvira. Oh my God, the other one.
Vampira.
Thank you.
No eyebrows.
The thin, like, up and... They are a dramatic look, and so
Judy Garland,
just because I'm a girl, so if you're a girl like me, you understand eyebrows and how important they are to us. So guys, I know you don't give a shit, but brows go back and forth between trending as far as very thin eyebrows to little bushier eyebrows. So bushier eyebrows were a little popular maybe like 2 years ago, give or take, because of Game of Thrones. Daenerys Targaryen, she had like more bushier eyebrows, so all of a sudden that came into play.
Okay.
So if hopefully that's a little less on eyebrows.
Sinners, I care very much about eyebrows.
I did not think I would be talking about eyebrows.
At my age, I go to sleep and I wake up in the morning and it's like an octopus is coming out of my forehead. So yeah, look, there's grooming for men's eyebrows too. I'm living proof. All right, Michelle Williams gets a pass. So
thank you. So that's my defense. So hopefully I'm getting him to like this movie a little bit more.
Because they are both great actors, they it's funny because they're not. There are movies where I'm like, yeah, that performance was a hairdo. Mm-hmm. That performance was garbage because it was just a walking hairdo, or it was just that was a costume filled by a person, but the performance was a costume. These actors actually, because of the caliber that they bring, everything rings true.
Yeah.
For all of the teens in the movie, you had bear with me. You've got Adam Hahn Bird as Charlie, and Jodie Lynn O'Keefe as Sarah. So that's like our foursome right there.
Right.
After
they were the other couple.
Yeah, after the school clears out, when everybody leaves for the field trip, they're those two couples stay behind. Just have a party down in the basement. Also, an alarming amount of candles down there.
Yeah.
Made me very nervous.
When I rewatched this, I was like, ooh, I don't know.
Yeah. I'm like, fire safety. But anyway, that's just the parent in me talking. So then you had Adam Arkin as Will Brennan, who is Carrie Tate, wink wink, Laurie Strode's love interest. Again, everybody in this movie brings their A game. No one was dialing it in. Through my research, I did find out that Jamie Lee Curtis, she was a little upset though, because the movie, in her opinion, turned out to be a bit of a money grab.
Yes.
As opposed to what it originally had started out with. Because they wanted John Carpenter, and the theory behind it was Carpenter was, said, F off, I'm not interested whatsoever. But that is not the case. Carpenter wanted $10 million.
Yes, I was gonna say that wasn't fully true. A lot of people have a prediction that he asked for $10 million, thinking that they would never honor that, and he was like, "Yeah, okay." It's so that, I mean, whether that's true or not, I mean, I have a feeling only.
I wish they gave him the damn $10 million.
Master of himself knows, but
I would have been curious to. Of course, I would have adored to see what he would have done with it 20 years later.
Yeah.
Instead, he goes on to make Ghosts of Mars, and we have that.
Another episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, actually, fun facts though, because now that you brought up the friends, so Charlie, Adam Hanbird?
Let's see.
Am I saying that right? I'm sorry.
Charlie is Adam Han. Let's say Hanbird.
Hanbird, right? Okay. So, did you know that he was actually supposed to, the original script, they were going to have him, kind of like what they did for Friday the 13th Part 5, they were going to have him be a copycat killer?
Shut your freaking face right now.
Truth.
What, Charlie?
Yeah.
Charlie was going to be a copycat killer? Mm-hmm. Shannon, I think I might be liking that.
But yeah, so I forgot exactly what changed their mind. But yeah, he originally was supposed to be a copycat killer. In the original script. I have a feeling it was just an idea like thrown in there, and then it was like thrown out.
So many people would have been so upset by that.
So
upset. I kind of like it.
Of course you do.
I kind of like. I would have bitched and moaned just with the rest of them. Oh, by the way, all right, I gotta stop you here for 1 second, just because I have to point out that Charlie getting killed in the movie. Charlie's at the sink, he's got his hand down into the garbage disposal, and you're thinking that Michael Myers is going to flick the switch and gobble up his hand, and that doesn't happen, but instead Charlie gets his hand out of the garbage disposal, turns around, Michael Myers is right there, he like literally bumps into him and looks up and goes, "Hi." And I have related to this death. It would have been me so much. I relate to that death so well, because he's just like,
how many corkscrews have you dropped down? a food dispenser.
But just the fact that when confronted with something out of the ordinary, instead of listening to your fight or flight and tearing us out of there, instead of just staying there and going, "Hi," and then immediately getting killed.
But it is also Halloween. Like this could be my friend in a mask right now. Like he probably thought for half a second it was his Josh Hartnett's character, which I forgot for a brief second, which is John.
I love the kill, although my one beef with it is
off-screen kill. Yeah, I know. Kill. I think he was a little upset about that too.
You think they filmed it? I think they filmed it.
I don't. He doesn't.
It seems weird.
I don't remember him mentioning it. Because I watched like a whole big documentary with all of them on there doing interviews.
Oh, if they didn't mention it, then I
don't remember him mentioning it. I'll be honest with you. I forgot why they did it that way, but
Jodie Lynn O'Keefe's kill is especially mean and brutal.
Yes,
they pretty much dine out on poor Jodie Lynn O'Keefe.
Yes,
that's it's crazy effective, but it goes to the point where I was like, oh shoot, I kind of forgot about her kill, and then just like the adding on of, oh, and then your ankle's broken now, oh, now, and then you're stabbed in the, and I was like, oh, they really went to town on her.
Yeah.
And then her reveal of being gutted and having the light bulb shine through her hole in her stomach, I mean, it's really good.
It was a very good.
Really good.
It was a really good prop.
Shit, am I becoming a fan of this movie as we're talking about it? God damn you, Shannon.
Excellent.
All right, but your kryptonite is going to be this fucking Michael Myers mask that looks like a goddamn Phyllis Diller mask.
We'll get to it.
It belongs in Mad Monster Party. Shout out to Mad Monster Party, by the way. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Nothing more will be said about it. It is a jewel. Watch it.
So, okay, so a couple of things I just want to talk about that I thought was really cool because just some things that they did for the fans, right? Okay.
Oh boy. Okay. I can't wait to hear this.
Okay. So, if in the beginning, right before, I guess it's still daylight, so that before, like everybody leaves for the school trip. So I don't know if you remember a certain cameo that was in the movie was Jamie Lee Curtis's own mother.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Janet Leigh.
Marion Crane.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Okay, so Janet Leigh makes a cameo in the movie. Now, if you remember the actual scene, her and Laurie Strode have their moment discussing, whatever they're discussing, and then she starts walking away. And if you remember, it is the car, the 1957 Ford car from Psycho.
Definitely remember
that
the car.
she drove
Did not know it was the same
Marion
car.
Crane. And if you look at the license plate,
Come on now, you're
the
taking
license
the piss.
plate NFB 418.
I love it.
That was the same license plate.
I love it. It's like the it's
and
like
that stood for Norman Francis Bates. I think was his full name. So that's where the NFB just comes from.
I love that stuff.
And as she's walking, I'm not done.
Okay.
When she's walking to the car, the same score from Psycho is playing in that moment.
I can't do it. But I have to watch this
obviously,
movie again.
it's definitely more backgroundy.
I gotta watch this movie again.
But it's there.
Son of a bitch.
So,
I love that stuff.
and if you want to bounce back, if you remember Nancy Steven, Nurse Marion, just saying.
You know who was supposed to play her assistant? Who they wanted?
For this film or the original?
Nope, H2O. PJ Souls.
Oh, I'm sure she was asked.
PJ Souls. I don't know why it didn't work out, but they wanted her to play her assistant for a scene. I don't know if it's that particular scene, but I guess she couldn't do it.
And have her say totally.
In Janet Leigh. Oh God,
and have her
Janet Leigh.
Aw. But I really thought that was just a cool little thing because I'm pretty sure John Carpenter in the original had his own little ways of honoring Psycho because of the fact that he got her daughter to play the main role. So the shadow shape, because right, doesn't Marion look up and see technically Norman as Norma?
She's thinking that it's the mom, but it's Norman
because he's wearing the wig. But you just see a shadow, so you're like,
do that one soon,
So there was that. So I just thought that was kind of cool that they linked Psycho into it.
I absolutely adore those Easter eggs. The one that comes to mind quickly is Deep Blue Sea. Thomas Jane takes the license plate out of the shark's mouth, and it's the same license plate that comes out of the tiger shark in Jaws.
Oh,
same number.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So Sinners.
I would have found that out eventually, though.
Please leave in the comments if you know Easter eggs. Let us know. Because I love that stuff.
I live for Easter eggs.
Oh, you made me feel silly because I watched the movie. And
there's actually another Psycho reference as well. So so it's the moment where Charlie and John escape off campus. They convince
they're in the town.
The security guard, LL Cool J.
Oh, Ronnie.
Ronnie. Yes, they convince him to let them, go out on the town.
Guess what's going to happen to Ronnie?
Get some alcohol. Nothing.
No, he's going to get his face kissed because ladies might love Cool James. Guess who else loves Cool James? This guy right here.
Guy.
Oh my God, LL Cool J. By the way, he moved into my town, Manhasset, Long Island. Shout out, whoop whoop. People used to see him at the diner all the time. I sadly did not, but LL Cool J, adore you.
So they're out on the town, and they go, he's complaining about his mom or whatever, like, I can't leave her or something like that. So either way, John and Charlie are having a little bit of a spat, and verbatim, Charlie tells John, if you don't run away from her now, or whatever, stick up for her now.
God damn it!
20 years from now, you're going to be living with her, running a motel in the middle of nowhere.
Son of a bitch!
Zing, zing, zing!
God, I have to pay more attention. Maybe I shouldn't do a podcast if I can't pay attention to movies. Oh,
well, I'm the one who was supposed to be carrying this movie, so that's fair.
I'm gonna have to watch this movie over again. I'm literally gonna have to do it today.
So okay, so a lot of fun, like, little references there, right?
Sorry, I gotta go back to my endless beef list. They convinced Ronnie to open the gate. These two strapping young lads can't jump over an 8-foot wall. I have a problem with everybody being trapped on campus at the end because the gate won't open. I'm like, no one can jump in California?
Like, no one can figure this out?
But anyway, again, I'm being a dick.
But we digress. All right, so I guess I think I feel like I'm a little all over the place, but just forgive me.
No, but this is good. You know what? Because
it's fine.
Sinners, you've seen the movie, so we don't have to belabor it. We're just picking out the stuff that we love, and we're actually going to be doing this going forward. We're just gonna pick out the little morsels, the tasty little morsels that we want to discuss.
If you remember in the beginning where after the cold open, then now they get into the introductory scene, and you hear oh my God, Donald Pleasance.
Oh, Loomis. Dr. Loomis.
Oh my God, sorry, had a brain fart. Too excited.
Oh, Donald Pleasance.
So you hear Dr. Loomis's voice. So a lot of people were like, "How the hell did they get that?" Or was it a or you just figured, like, it was a recording.
DP was dead by then.
Oh, he was very, very, very much so. He definitely passed away.
Still dead?
Still dead. Spoiler.
You were just about to say, he was still very, very dead. It wasn't one of those light deaths you hear about. He was still dead.
He was very much so. So they actually got, because I think they did try to take it from the old movie, and there was still too much background noise. It didn't fit.
Oh boy, you try running a podcast. You're preaching to the choir. Okay, I got you, production crew.
So they got a voiceover actor.
Come on, man, this guy sounds exactly like him.
Exactly. So his name was Tom Kane. Okay, and
you get a friggin' applause.
Oh, seriously, and he has his own interview too in the documentary that I found. And he sat with, I never got his name. I don't think he mentions his name, maybe for privacy reasons, which is fine. But Donald Pleasance's best friend. He sat with this man.
Okay.
And he said they did like 50 takes.
That's commitment.
Until finally his friend goes, That's him. That's Donald.
Gosh dang.
And then he finally got the pitch. So it was a completely different actor. So they were able to do their own fresh cut, and that was not his voice at all. It was a different actor. I thought that was really interesting because I thought they took a snippet from the old movie.
Not only is it interesting because I absolutely thought that was unused audio dialogue from an old movie. This is the kind of stuff that I hope that Sinners appreciate, because I think this really fleshes out how people who create movies, they do it. You know, even if you're like, this guy's a jobber, he's just taking the job because it's a paycheck. Look at all the craft that goes into it. Look at all the time and effort. I mean, I hope I'm not alone, but I just love these stories because it really does flesh out what goes on behind the scenes to put something up on screen. You might like it, you might not, but still, the effort that goes into it, I just love this stuff.
Because they could have scrapped the idea altogether. Like, they're like, it sounds like shit. Like, there's too much background noise. Like, we can't introduce it with the score. Like, it would have sounded muddy.
This almost makes up for them using a production still from Halloween 1 for Loomis's picture. In the cold open.
You may have to forgive that. I don't know.
All right. Eventually I'll let it go, but I'm holding on to it for today. Eventually I'll let it go. Look, you're damn near convincing me that I like this movie, so take the win.
I was going to say, you already mentioned I got to watch it again, so haha.
Son of a bitch. All right, okay. I'm changing my answer. Okay. I begrudgingly like Halloween H2O. I cannot believe you convinced me that I like this movie.
I love how you can still say begrudgingly.
You did. But you all right, it happened in real time, gang.
So then you know what? Then I don't know if I want to talk about the masks anymore, because I was like, let me get the masks part of it over with.
I may be backsliding.
Because I feel like I'm talking long enough that I'm like, fine, let's get into the masks, because I know everybody. Woo! Okay, so starting from the beginning. So Steve Miner, he was very specific on what he wanted as far as the mask goes. So I believe this was the one that was, it was nicknamed the Casper mask. He wanted, because this is how he saw Michael Myers, throughout the years, where he was just not necessarily a ghost, but he was emotionless. He wanted like everything flushed, so that's where the whiteness comes into play. And so that was a vision he went with. They designed it, he agreed to it, and then they started using it, right? So then it was the whatchamacallit, the Weinsteins. The Weinsteins got involved, and they start there, because now like snippets of their cuts are getting into production.
Sure, they're seeing the dailies.
Producers' eyes, the dailies, yes. So the Weinsteins are looking at the mask and they're going, "What the fuck is that?" So then they start complaining about the masks. So, but by the time they got the complaint, maybe he conveniently didn't listen, didn't hear it the first times or what happened. But by the time apparently this news got to Steve Miner that they wanted to change the mask, they were 3 weeks into filming.
All right.
Like he's like, I have 75% of the movie done. Are you kidding me? So this is where reshoots happened, right? I believe, I forgot exactly why, because they did use the mask from part 6. But apparently it's only in... so it's in the cold open scene where Marion gets attacked. And apparently it's actually... I thought, like, when I first heard about it, I'm like, oh, they just opened it up with the beginning scene. Apparently it's only... I think they modeled it from... Because there's another mask that they modeled more closely to that one, where it goes back to the roots a little bit, where, because they were complaining, like, he has eyebrows. Like, give him eyebrows. Give him some features instead of the whiteness.
The hair is what takes me out of it.
Well, it could be because I think it's the balance, in a way. I think, like, that was the only mistake I'll have, was the way how white and just... like clean slate this mask was, then the hair just kind of... It's
like Phyllis Diller Fright wig.
In a way,
hair.
yeah.
It comes like out and up, and again, Sinners, I know it's just a mask, but it's an iconic mask.
Yeah.
It comes out and up. It's almost red, whereas like the original mask, the hair goes back. It's like slicked back, you know, because it's a William Shatner mask. But it just... Look, I get Steve Miner, the color correction I don't have a problem with, because it's very easy to spot him in the background, I'm sorry, because it pops, because it's very white and stark. So you get those, because there's a lot of Michael walking past doorways and looking in windows, and it's very easy to spot him because the mask is so damn bright. But it was just the hair choice, it just makes me nuts.
See, I think if they... I don't know, maybe dirtied the mask a little bit.
Yeah.
Scrunched up. If they gave it a little bit of texture, like it's been worn...
It would have... Yeah, because this looks fresh from the Silver Shamrock Factory.
Exactly. And I don't think you would have noticed the hair as much.
Probably
personally.
not.
I think it was literally the stark white and then the stark brown. Like, it was just the brown and white. Look, they needed to like kind of like muss it up a little bit, throw it in the dryer or something, like just to give it a little texture.
I don't have a lot of good things to say about the 2018 Halloween and Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends. I don't have a tremendous amount of positivity about it. There's a lot of good ideas that don't land, aren't fleshed out.
Yeah, my opinion is very different than
But they got the costume design right for that. I will say that.
I didn't mind. Yes, I didn't mind his look, and but that is probably the only thing I liked.
Yeah, me too. Me too. We'll get
another episode.
No, we're going to do an episode on that because the reason those movies are so frustrating is because I love some of the thoughts behind it, and then they just go right off a cliff.
But
again, that's a separate podcast.
that's definitely gonna be a whole separate episode.
Can I tell you? Besides the cold open, and now evidently the entire movie, because I think I love it. It's my favorite movie now. But one scene that was very well done. The kills are very well done, but one scene that's really, really gave me tons of anxiety. Michelle Williams and Josh Hartnett they're being chased by Michael, and they are heading into the school or the dorms, and they lock the gate behind them and drop the keys. And then Michael is trying to stab them, and can almost get them, and they're backed against the door, and the door has that little porthole in it.
Yeah.
And then that becomes the still that everybody sees from the movie, where Laurie's on one side and Michael's on the other side. And it's a really good, effective
that was a
shot.
Brilliant. I squealed.
But
I think at that
scene was almost Hitchcockian, because Michael's trying to stab them, but then has the wherewithal to realize they're the keys. And then so picks up the keys and then starts trying to open the gate to get to them. And they're banging on the door, let me in, let me in, let me in. And it was really, I mean, you have this ticking clock, and I thought it worked really, really well. On the flip side of that, what didn't work well for me was the Ronnie Gatehouse scene where the truck comes to the gate, Ronnie goes out there, Michael Myers walks behind him, and it's like your suspension of disbelief that Ronnie couldn't hear someone in heavy workman boots on gravel. It just makes me crazy.
And he's a security guard.
Yeah, and Cinners, just so that you know, I was rubbing my eyes when you're frustrated and like moving your hands down your face, and it's just like, there's a way to do that where it wasn't so comically inept that. And then they have this like cat and mouse in the guardhouse where he's at the window, and now he's at the door, and now he's at the window, and now he's at the door. And originally in Williams' treatment, Ronnie was a woman, and she got killed in that scene. But you don't kill LL Cool J. Again, call back to Deep Blue Sea. He was supposed to die in that too.
Never do.
LL Cool J, all across the globe, everyone just wants to kiss his face. He's a sweetheart man, and he can't die in movies. Cannot die in movies.
He's immortal.
So that scene didn't work all that well for me, just because it went on like 5 beats too long. But as a whole, I cannot believe that you are making me say this, but the kills, although not a lot of them, call back to the original, not a lot of kills in the original.
Yeah, not at all. 5.
The kills are really good in this movie, and it's got a really good cold open. The end, I know a lot of people have a problem. I guess we'll talk about the end now. A lot of people have a problem with the end, but they only have a problem with the end when Resurrection comes out. And it's revealed that it was the ambulance driver.
Because originally, I remember standing up and clapping along with everybody else.
This was the end of it.
That was huge.
But then to know that Mustafa Akkad had this plan, and it was already greenlit that we were going to go right into Resurrection 2 years later. So think about it. This comes out in 18, and 98, and Resurrection comes out in 2000, right? Yeah.
Around there, yes.
So come on, they already have to be in pre-production while they're in post-production for H2O.
They probably were.
And all right, Mustafa Akkad, I understand that this is your franchise, and you can do what you want with it, but you tricky man, setting everybody up to think that this was the end of the franchise, which, honestly, saying that out loud, we're the silly ones,
it depends on what kind of a fan you are. If you're a fan the way I am, it's, to me, that this was it.
I think...
not that I'm not going to not recognize the rest of the movies, but to me, this is where it ends.
I think... For me, now that I've accepted H2O into my life, now for me it goes 1, 2, H2O. I have no problem with that. 3's my favorite, but 3 is not.
But 3 was supposed to start the.
I adore 2.
Analogy.
How do you feel about 2?
I love 2.
Yeah, we have to do a separate on 2.
That's amazing.
And then you get okay, we're listening to some of the feedback. We're doing double the kills. They're creative. There's some really mean kills in that.
Yeah.
I mean, oh boy.
Very brutal ones.
Oh gosh. All right. Can we do 2 in October? I know you have surprises for us, which I'm delighted by. Can we do 2 in October? Is it too close to H2O?
No. I don't see why not.
You
might as well start off October with those movies. That's fine.
Oh boy! And now I'm gonna throw.
Do you want to make that a 2-parter?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why don't we? Yeah. Why don't we just have we'll do Halloween at Halloween, and we'll start with 2, and we'll talk about 2, and then we can talk about David Gordon Green Halloweens. How do you feel about the Rob Zombies?
I actually really liked the first one, not the second one.
I really love Rob Zombie's music, and I'll leave it at that. I feel like we would be friends. I see Rob Zombie, and I'm like, we could be friends. Probably not. He'd be like, you're a narc. But I really love Rob Zombie, but the movies don't click for me. I think the closest I come is Lords of Salem. I think I had to do a rewatch on that.
Okay. I personally love The Devil's Rejects.
Okay.
I love
and
that
I can
one.
see that. I mean, he's got a grindhouse aesthetic that I brush up against. You know what, Rob Zombie? In this relationship, I think it's me. I think it is me. But we can get into those as well. But so let's do Halloween on Halloween.
In Halloween season. Okay.
Cool.
And if Sinners, if you don't want us to do that, you can let us know in the comments. But we're probably going to do it anyway.
Yeah, probably going to do it anyway.
Just going to spoil that for you.
Yeah, I'm already picturing it. It'll be a Sunday. We're going to do apple cider donuts. We're going to do pumpkin beer.
We're going to do all of it.
Yeah, we're going to have a Halloween palooza.
I might just wear my witch hat.
Do it. I'm going to wear my skeleton onesie. Yeah, we're making this a thing. We're going to
make it a thing.
Oh, God. Why can't the cold weather come?
It's hopefully soon.
All right.
But, before we wrap it up, I did want to mention, like, one last thing about the end scene, because I thought this was actually kind of interesting, too. So, prior to head cutting, by the way. So, the scene where, Laurie Strode just, knows or has a feeling, and she decides to kidnap Michael Myers and drive off with him. She cuts the brake in the van, and he goes flying through the windshield. First of all, they did that in one take. That was a actual stunt that they did.
This stunt's good.
Yeah, it was very good. So they were able to do that in one take. And then, so if you remember after that, then she drives into him, they plummet down a hill, and then he gets smushed between the fence, which looks like a little rickety wooden fence, which I really think would have, perished and crashed.
Yeah.
Especially at that velocity, but again, I digress. But the way they did that scene was they actually did, obviously carefully place the van against the actor.
Okay.
Maybe not full pin, and then they, I think they levied it, because again, it is up a hill.
Yeah.
And they levied it in, up the hill.
Okay.
Okay, so, and then he just kind of reacted, a specific way.
Ooh, that's something. Because
you remember when he gets hit, his body does jolt. So, and then they just did it in reverse. So that's a reverse shot. So he's actually, obviously he's not actually physically getting hit by the van, but they kept it practical. There's nothing,
that is so smart to do it that way, and it's seamless.
Yeah,
because I'm thinking about it in my mind right now.
Because you think
works.
Like how they did. Because sometimes, because I remember thinking, like, did they use a dummy that just happened to,
it's not
whatever, like
janky at all.
Puppetry? Not at all. So so if you think about movie magic, right? So just in case you were wondering, because I'm sure you were all thinking about it, how that one particular scene was filmed. That's it's a reverse shot.
Oh my! And look, a special, deep down in my heart, shout out to Adam Orkin, who in my mind I'm always calling Alan Orkin, so I apologize, Adam. His death, that he gets stabbed and then seemingly also gets electrocuted as he's getting stabbed. I mean, it was a choice, and he makes it, and I just love that scene so much, because he gets stabducuted, and he created a new thing. And now all I do is look for people getting stabducuted in movies.
You make up new words, and I love it. Stabducuted?
He got stabducuted.
Stabducuted.
He gets stabbed and electrocuted at the same time. We're putting that on a fucking t-shirt. Stabducuted. It's the only way to explain how. The only thing not happening is lightning shooting out of his fingertips when he gets stabbed. But Adam Orkin, I love you. I mean, he was a great boyfriend for as long as he lasted. He was very caring and thoughtful. He's a horrible shot, and he might also be a little racist. We're not sure. He's the only black guy on campus, and he couldn't wait to unload every bullet in his direction. Just kidding, everyone. Just kidding. Don't destroy me in the comments.
Just a jape. Just a jape. So, but yeah.
Ronnie lives, by the way. So I know we mentioned that, but Ronnie does.
Yes, he does live. Yes. So he. So that's pretty much. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot more I can say, but so I'll try to conclude that again. Maybe it was a different experience at the time, especially the way they marketed it. Like, you know, the 20-year anniversary, and. It was, I don't know, it was just, I was so excited going into it, and again, the fact that it's a short and sweet film, again, 86 minutes, again, I still think the shortest out of the whole franchise.
I think so,
but
too.
I got all the nostalgia, I got the, what they were trying to do, it was... When they finally go head to head, and especially the part where Laurie Strode decides to they get out of there, they get out, and she goes, no, you keep going, keep going and run and call the police, and she locks herself in with Michael. She's like, and she's facing her trauma.
That's the hero moment.
She's facing, and she starts screaming his name. I remember getting chills.
Then we get that sweet music cue, and all of a sudden the music kicks in, and then she gets the axe, and you're like, it's on. Yeah. Right.
So I remember just feeling that, and then him going back at her too when now they're in the I think it's the cafeteria maybe. So it's the scene where she's under all the tables, and he's like on and that one scene where he's on top trying to swipe at her, and now she keeps crawling under the tables, and he just gets that moment where he finally gets pissed, and he just takes both tables at a time, and he's just flipping them all over. That I thought, I loved that scene too. It was just like
the reveal of the pan up, and then he's standing on top of the table. Is crazy effective as well.
Yeah, whole, I just remember being like giggity giggity the whole time. So and it's why I love this movie. I still feel that. Even when I go back and rewatch it, I remember why I loved it so much.
You look at Steve Miner's successful body of work, and I mean, he knows how to manipulate the audience, and I mean that in the best way possible. He knows how to elicit a reaction. Look, you've got Friday 2, Friday 3, you've got House, you've got Lake Placid. These are good horror movies. I mean, they're effectively scary. So he definitely knows what he's doing. Couple of the, my beef is with a couple of the design choices.
And I don't know if that was really all him. I think it
Maybe
was
not.
Obviously the mask debacle was that my favorite choice of his design? Not necessarily, but
look, this dude created Baghead Jason, so he gets a win there.
Yeah. So,
all right.
So it I don't know. I think I just learned to forgive it. And the other and I totally forgot to mention too the scene with Charlie. So everyone makes fun of that scene because that is a digital mask, and it does look like a floating head. And basically or at least their only defense against that is they just needed that reshot for whatever reason, and the sets were taken down. Like there was no chance to do a reshoot. There was no way getting to that. They had nothing. Literally, they crumbled it to the ground,
and the money's gone.
And it's gone.
Your money's gone.
Yeah.
So look, these are creative people doing trying to get lightning in a bottle and do creative things on the fly.
I don't think all of that was really his fault.
No, I can forgive that.
So
that's
what I mean.
definitely forgive that.
Yeah. So I get the mask debacle. I just learned to forgive it because I feel like the rest of the story outweighs that.
I can't believe you won our first movie fight. I'm so upset.
Huzzah!
I'm so upset. I was so ready to destroy this movie. I mean, my argument was weak. It was a hairdo and eyebrows, so I didn't come with, I brought a knife to a gunfight. But you know what? You definitely convinced me that this movie deserves a lot more respect than I initially gave it. It does.
It has its place in the world.
It really, really does.
Yeah.
So, Sinners, we're going to wrap up here. We're not going to announce next week's movie.
Okay.
No, we're going to leave this a question mark because I am going to suggest something to Shannon, and guess what, you dirty snoops? You're not privy to it. But what I will say is that right now we're at the beginning of September. I'm going to post this episode this coming up Tuesday, and I'll tell you why I'm going to do that. Because something really cool is happening next week. So on September 10th and 13th, which is a Sunday and a Wednesday, Fathom Events is they do these things with AMC where and Regal. Check your local theater, because on Sunday, September 10th and the 13th, John Carpenter's Christine is being released on the big screen.
I saw that this morning.
They're also doing They Live, and I believe the dates for They Live is this very day, which by the time this post will be too late, so that's on me. But coming up this Wednesday... Oh, wait, I'm sorry. No. What's today's date?
Today is the 2nd?
Today's the 2nd?
Nope, 3rd.
The 3rd. The 3rd.
What does the calendar look like?
Check your theaters for They Live through Fathom Events, FATHOM Events, and Christine is coming up in 2 weeks. If you get a chance, go out and see these on the big screen. I saw Christine back in the day on the big screen, and I just, look, if you get a chance to see any of your favorites, if they're in the local art house movie theater, or you're lucky enough that they're releasing it wide, like Fathom Events does, go and check them out. It's worth your time. I'm going to try and check out They Live. I'm going to find out when that's playing, but I know that the dates for Christine are the 10th and the 13th.
September 3rd and 6th.
Sweet. So, all right, you've missed today, but in our time machine, you will have the 6th, so you can go see They Live on the 6th. I didn't see that one on the big screen. I just saw that one on video, so I think I'm going to check that one out.
Yeah, no, I never saw that one on the big screen either.
But Christine on the big screen, let me tell you something. You're in for a treat, especially the deaths of the bullies. The cinematography in this movie is just absolutely gorgeous. It's just, I can't praise it enough. That go see it on the big screen and enjoy yourself. And that's it, gang. We will be back next week, of course, with a surprise. And until then,
that's a cut.
Yay!